Howdy folks, it's been a while, I know, I'm sorry. I've been supervising at the restaurant lately, and I've actually had to, I'm actually at the point where I'm closing by myself, like I'm the actual in charge guy, so, whew, a lot of fun. Anyway, yeah, it's been really busy lately. I haven't had time to do anything. It's been nuts. So, yeah, I got a bunch of videos planned. Like, the good news is that I haven't been doing videos lately, but I do have a bunch of ideas for videos, so as soon as I get a minute, I'll, put a bunch down. So yeah, when I was a kid, everyone saw Star Wars. Star Wars was amazing. Like Indiana Jones and like Goonies and, all those really kick-ass movies. And then, everyone has a movie that they saw that just, I don't know why, it just struck a chord with me. Like, everyone loves Star Wars and all that, but, everyone's got a movie that, I don't know, it's like, my buddy Nick's movie, for instance, is Krull. And I watched Krull recently. I hadn't seen it when I was a kid, and I thought, holy fuck, this movie sucks. So it makes you wonder if it's good because it's really good, or it's good just because it makes you feel nostalgic, right? Anyway, my movie like that is Dune. Dune got really nuked when it came out, like, by the critics. It got fucking annihilated. But then, later on, people come to realize it's a pretty cool movie, and it's got kind of like a little bit of a following. It's not exactly the same as the book or anything, and for some reason, Lynch always uses Kyle, whatever the fuck his last name, McClellan. I always call him Kyle McCallahan, but it's Kyle McClellan. My throat is sort of screwed up. I don't know why. I think the seasons are starting to change. I always get sick. Anyway, I like Dune because, it's Frank Herbert's novel, of course, and it's just I love the cinematography in it. And the costumes are really good, and some of the acting is good. Not all the acting, of course, but I mean, like the Baron Harkonnen, he's fucking awesome. He's so over the top, but that's just kind of the way the Baron would be. So, that fits. I love all the creepy, weird stuff that happens in Dune. I mean, when I was a kid and I watched it, it didn't make a lot of sense to me, you know what I mean? Like, there's these really shocking images that come out, like, it's all about a plot, right? Like, it's, there's a couple of houses, and then there's the Emperor, and the Emperor basically is using the houses as chess pieces, and he wants to get rid of one of the houses, and that's it. So at the start of the movie, this, Guild Navigator comes in, and he just looks like a giant floating peanut, and he comes out and starts talking to the Emperor and saying, we've seen, into the future, whatever, you must get rid of Paul Atreides, because if you don't get rid of Paul, then bad things are going to happen. So you have to kill him. And then, trying to understand why this giant floating peanut is telling the Emperor to kill Paul doesn't really make much sense, because when you're a kid, you don't really have the foresight to understand that, it's, when you're older, you understand that you can see somebody and understand that when they get a little older, they're going to become dangerous, that type of thing. When you're a kid, you don't really have, you can't, it's too much to understand. But anyway, that always stuck in my mind, that and little things like the Harkonnens. They got this little box, they have like a bug in it, and they push down on it, and fucking the bug squishes, and they drink the juice, and the Harkonnens have, I don't think they have heart plugs in the book, they have, I think it's a filtration system, but in the movie they have heart plugs where, the Baron is a sick motherfucker, so he's having a moment where he's like, whoa, and some little fucking wiener comes in and starts putting flowers down, and flowers on fucking, in the Harkonnens room, weird. He flies down, and he grabs the kid's heart plug and just pulls it out, and just blood just goes, psst, and the kid dies, and the Baron just, did that for kicks. Yeah, it's a pretty crazy movie. Oh yeah, by the way, it all takes place on a giant fucking desert planet with humongous sandworms. It's a very bizarre movie. Like, if you were trying to watch it nowadays, like, it never knew nothing about Frank Herbert's universe, and you just try to go into it cold, you probably, I don't know, I wonder if people would actually like it if they had never seen it before, because it's a pretty bizarre movie. But I loved it because the effects in it I thought were pretty good for the time, and I did like, I just like a lot of the ideas, like a lot of the designs and stuff. You can tell Dune influenced a lot of other movies. Like, when you watch Dune, the first thing you see is a space shot. And it's funny because a very similar thing happens in, I found that The Fifth Element, as soon as I saw it, I knew it had been influenced by Dune, just by a certain, like, oh, the opening shot's exactly the same too, and there's, you know, those little duck guys that walk like this. As soon as I saw those, I thought that's something almost right out of Dune. It's pretty crazy. Anyway, there's one other thing I was gonna say. Oh yeah, Dune. It's not perfectly like the book. Like they decided to kind of go their own way. Like in the book, Paul knows the weirding way, which means he can move really fast, and he's like, bam, you know, hits motherfuckers. But in the movie, they decided to turn it into weirding modules, which is something they wear in their throat, and they focus their voice, and they use these things to center it, and fucking they can blast people. It's a sonic weapon. It's a fucking really cool idea on its own, I think. Also, there's this, you know, sisterhood called the Bene Gesserit, and they're in the book they're like ultra sensitive. They're not psychics, but in the movie they become psychic. Like they just decide to make them clairvoyant or whatever. But it works out kind of neat. Like it just adds a little bit of an extra twist. I don't know why they decided to take creative license with the book or anything, but you know, it's fucking whatever. Oh, and probably my favorite part of Dune is the fucking soundtrack. It was done by the band Toto. I think they never scored a soundtrack before or done it since, but I'm wondering why they haven't, because it's so fucking good. Like it's just, I think it's actually a fucking achievement. They combine this like powerful classical music with like rock, so they have this fucking rock guitar kick in and just kick you in the balls right out of nowhere. Oh, it's so fucking good. So I was kind of like, you know, forgotten about Dune for a very long time. And I thought, you know what, I should go download the soundtrack because it's kick-ass. And I went and downloaded it. I thought, oh my god, I gotta watch this movie again. So then I watched the movie and fuck, I missed it. And then I downloaded the show, the series they made. It's like 6 episodes, I think. I haven't watched it yet, but it's gonna be cool. So yeah, it's Frank Herbert's novel is amazing. It's heavily influenced by kind of, you know, like Middle Eastern culture and that type of thing. And it's unfortunate he died before he finished one of the books, and he just left the notes for his son. He's like, okay, you know, here's what I want you to write, and gave it to him. And I haven't gotten that far along in the series, so I don't really know if his son is, you know, as good as he is or not, but it's just a very interesting idea that these guys live in the desert. They're called the Fremen, and they have still suits, and they, like the suit, you put this little thing in your nose, and it takes all the moisture out of your nose, and it recycles everything, and then you just drink all your own recycled fluid. It's kind of gross, but, you know, whatever. If you're in the deep desert, you don't really have much choice then. So anyway, guys, watch Dune. Tell me what you think. If you haven't seen it before, I want to know if you'd actually find it good if you've never seen it, like going in cold. Like, you know, like I said, it's just, it makes me nostalgic. So I don't know if it's because it actually is good or it just makes me feel nostalgic. And there will be more videos to come, guys. Sorry, I've just been busy. I'm coming down with something too. I think it's every time the seasons change, I get sick, and I don't know why. But anyway, yeah. Soon, videos.